Oh! Fuck
Yes,
yeah!
boy.
Fuck yeah!
So the boys are back.
Yeah.
AFK.
Yes.
The man, hey, see, hey, let me do a proper introduction, please. Let me do a proper introduction. Everybody, clap your hands, if I stand on your feet wherever you are, and witness the man, the myth, the legend himself. AF to the fucking K, AFK.
The hype.
Oh,
Jesus,
All
the
right, all
hype.
right, guys. All right, guys. We'll try to keep it respect the time because we have a lot to get into. So AFK, welcome to the show.
What's up?
The last time we were
The
supposed to join, we had a whole lot of issues trying to keep you um involved. So I'm so elated to have you on here with us. So we are dealing a lot. So right now we are on the John Cena effect. They said Cena is coming to roast Cody. I know you definitely would have checked out that session. Sorry, the segments that we had on Monday Night Raw in the O2 Arena. So Tope said in his own perspective that Cody going in on himself first, Cody trying to list out the issues that he feels would be, Cena would target allegedly. So he touched on his lips, he touched on his father's character, he touched things that which we actually go to. But I just want to address what he said that he feels that was cowardly of him to go in on himself without Cena saying anything yet. So what do you have to say to if you have anything to counter that point, or you're going to stand with him and say, yeah, you believe that was like you stand with him with what he said before we
so
go into
basically,
this today.
yeah. So can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
yeah,
Can you
yeah,
guys hear me? Okay, good. My network is okay. So basically, you can't talk about wrestling in Nigeria without involving AFK. That's impossible. And I must
fact,
say,
fact.
I watched. Thank you. I watched Cody Rhodes and John Cena, and like John Cena said, he wasn't going to cook Cody Rhodes. He was going to bury him, like legit bars on this boy. And Cody bringing up all his failures in John Cena's words is just him saying, I don't get waiting to use against you, so I will just try and defend myself in the process. Like before you insult me, I insult myself to make you look like a fool because I have nothing to say against you. That's just the honest
I
thing. Because you really don't have anything against. You can't say anything against John Cena. John Cena is him. To be honest, I'm not saying this as a John Cena fan. I'm just being honest. Cody is good on the mic, but he's not up to John Cena's level. So the best thing he could do for himself is just be defensive and insult himself so that John Cena has nothing against him. And it's crazy how John Cena still found a way to make him look like a fool. And then if you notice,
mm,
the crowd were against John Cena. They were booing John Cena. And at some point they started cheering John Cena. That should show you the magnitude of
that's
how good
true.
this man is. This man just made the crowd go from booing him to cheering him to wanting him to actually win the title. That's why he's the greatest. It's not, bro. It's just it's unfathomable. Excuse my language, but it's unfathomable. You understand what I'm saying?
All right, so
It's just
thank you so much for that. So we are just because I need us to break down this segment bit by bit. So it says just like we addressed the Stardust, we addressed. It says Cena could make fun of his neck tattoo or his time with AEW, but Cena won't bite on any of this. He says he perhaps struggles with the idea that Superman is dead now. I know you guys are big on the comic books and the DC movies and then he says now that Cena is healed, then says he doesn't think Cena's words have matched his actions and he's lied to fans. He says he thinks Cena cared about him and knows that he cared about fans at one point. Then invite him to be honest about the reason that he actually turned heel at Elimination Chamber. Cena says he won't stoop to Cody Rhodes' level just to protect him. Then says he won't cook him but he will bury him.
Be him.
He says, all Rhodes has done is ride the coattails of his success. That's John Cena talking here. He
Yes.
says he says being so great that WWE handed the reins to him to be his chauffeur. So for those that the English is too big, his driver, basically his boy. That was what Cody was. He calls Cody Rhodes a slimy pickpocket. Then says Rhodes holding the undisputed WWE championship disgusts him. He says Rhodes stole information from him. Then says if you strip away Rhodes' entrance, then there isn't much to look at.
Which could
He
root.
says Rhodes is generic and says all he has showed him is someone mediocre wearing a meaningful title. He calls Rhodes a paint by the numbers sociopath. Nepo baby. That's so he told him. He also says God is gimmick tattooed on his neck. He says Rose is nothing more than a common fan. Then says the last real champion will take the championship home, and Rose will be exposed to be nothing more than a lucky errand boy. So let's stop and analyze. He has called him so many things. You are not only were you my driver, you are nothing more than a slimy pickpocket. You stole all my blueprints. You took it all and used it. You are nothing more than an entrance. If they take this entrance away from you, you will be exposed. He called him a paint by the name. Cody's job is very full of the numbers. He's always pointing you how many people came to the show, how many people came to see him. Like he's always touting the numbers for you to show you how successful he is. He also called Cody a paint by number social class. We explained that. He called him a Nepo baby. This is something that we are going to talk on later on the show on the LeBron James and Bronny with Stephen A. Smith issue. When you are successful and you have a last name that is famous, it is very hard because you are being said to be a Nepo baby. Cody is now accused to be a Nepo baby. And he also said Cody wants to be good so bad that he tattooed his gimmick on his neck. That's the American Nightmare flag on his neck. So I don't know where you guys want to start with. So I would start with 2P. Hearing all of this that the man himself had to say and literally allegedly accuse him. What's your take on that?
I mean, John Cena didn't lie. He didn't lie at all. If they take away his entrance, we actually be exposed because the only thing that is catchy about Cody Rhodes is his entrance. That whole part. After that is nothing. There's nothing special again. And that thing is him being a Nepo baby. There's nothing wrong in being a Nepo baby. I'm being serious because there are a lot of Nepo baby that are actually doing well more than their parents. Do you get? So it's like okay, they called him a nepo baby, fine and good, but then it now depends on how good you are. Maybe maybe people can know you without bringing in your parents.
Okay.
For example, now you can't name Cody Rhodes without naming his dad or like his dad's success or anything. So that was
Okay.
why, like, if they call you nepo baby, it's like an insult that, oh, that you are nothing without your dad. Yeah, this, and which if we're looking at it logically, that's just the fact. Cody Rhodes
But
had like an edge. Okay, now
would we
see
say
someone like,
Cody that point I can agree with you now on so many things. That one was one I'm like, would we really say Cody is a Nepo baby? Because if he was a Nepo baby, we have people in the industry that we can call Nepo babies. But to say Cody is a Nepo baby, I'm not saying this because obviously the history is there. How much I love and hate. I have a love hate relationship with Cody. But like to sit here and agree that Cody is a Nepo baby is something that I'm like nah. Because if you look at the records, you look at the history, he did not have it easy. You mean like it's not as if when he came, remember what Roman said to him, like your dad literally was in charge when you broke into this business. They threw you into the deep waters. All of us got to the bottom. start in NXT. We got to get tutored by your dad. We were raised by your dad. The likes of the Becky Lynch, the Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns of the world. We have a lot of guys that were trained and were mentored by Cody Rhodes' dad. Cody was not mentored by his dad. I still don't know why his dad did not mentor him. Maybe he wanted him to learn on his own and rather wanted to teach other kids, mentor other kids. So if he was really a Nepo baby, we know for sure he would be in NXT. But they pushed him to the main roster. Maybe he was that good. Maybe after that Hall of Fame speech he gave when he started. But this guy literally.
Somewhere, that's the point. The fact that everybody had to go through NXT, Cody didn't. They just pushed him to the main roster just like that. I mean, like, so that's why everybody's saying that it's because of his father influence. Obviously, without his father influence, you can't tell me that him being at the main roster was better than the likes of Seth Rollins at NXT. You can't tell me that he was not better than Seth Rollins at NXT at that time. They pushed him to the main roster because of his dad's name. Like, he should just go. They gave him that push, and whether people like it or not, at a point he fucked up his chances. Sorry for that language. He messed up his chances, which was why he now dipped and went to AEW, then came back and is now like, oh, I want to achieve my dad's dream. This and is making the whole thing a family team. At the same time, still using his dad's name to make a name for himself. That's the point. See someone like, let me use another person as an example. Someone like Randy Orton. His dad was a wrestler, but nobody enter you're mentioning Randy Orton achievement, you cannot bring his dad into it. He did that shit on his own. The 09 Randy, the Legend Killer, the Viper, like he achieved it on his own. Like, I can't disagree that his father influence was not there. It was there. But his performance is so good that you would forget the fact that his dad was actually a pro wrestler. That's the difference between him and Cody. And that person I can use an example is Dwayne Johnson. His dad was a wrestler, but then he made a good career and a name outside of his dad's shadow. But Cody Rhodes is someone that is still living, that his dad's name is still pushing him in the company currently. Like, that's what the reference just now I was just trying to make. That as long as as long as his father's name is there, he's still living in that shadow, and that is what is still keeping him relevant till now. You can't mention Cody Rhodes without mentioning the fact that he's doing some shit just to achieve his father's dream, this and this. But then, if you want to mention the likes of Randy Orton, you can never mention their father. You cannot mention his dad beside him. You want to mention The Rock, you cannot mention his dad beside him. Okay, now, as much as I don't like her that much, Charlotte Flair, I give her respect. She's living off her father's. I mean, she's apart from, okay, yes, there's a high chance that her father's name is still pushing her, but individually, she has achieved a lot, even without the help of her dad. But someone like Cody is just still under that shadow, under that, like, my dad kind of this thing. So yeah, John Cena was no wrong about that. Actually, he was not. He was not.
This is why I love the Good Morning Wrestling here on Sports Jedi Network as part of the Heel of the Ring podcast, because I right now, it's as if I should enter the screen and go and fight Topi, because I'm like, why would you say all of this? But I want to give, because I have to respect the fact that I'm hosting here. We are not here to argue who's favorite and who is not. So I'm going right now to AFK. AFK, what I'm
finally
want to just go straight to this point where you can't, because he called Cena said he's a Nepo baby. He said he's a Nepo baby, and Topi is saying Cena is right for calling him a Nepo baby, and like almost literally painting Cody as someone that did not work out for anything, maybe literally stealing from his dad, using his dad's name to his benefit. And it's as if he's forgetting that that was not only that was not Dusty's only son. We have Dustin still with AEW, where obviously Cody was there, brought his brother there. They had one of the, if not the greatest match in AEW history. I can go into argument, I can go into the court of law to argue that fact. That brother versus brother match in the first ever AEW, I believe that was the first ever AEW pay-per-view, Double or Nothing. That was the greatest brother versus brother match I have seen in my own from my own generation. Those guys literally cooked. I love the emotions, the blood, the everything. You felt it. The story going in, that was impeccable. Now, this boy worked his ass for almost 15 years with WWE, did not see success. Would we say he stole the blueprints? He knew what he needed to do. He left. His mom even told him, "This path you are taking will either end you in jail or end you might get killed." But this boy took this chance on himself. Went to New Japan, went to Ring of Honor, went to TNA, went to every indie he could get his hands on. He became the man we have today, and is here. So to see Topi stay there and say, Cody wrote that coattails, did all of this. If they say the code is the Nepo baby, then is the Nepo baby. Not work hard for that. What do you have to say on that point? I really need this Nepo baby addressed because it's going to be a huge topic, or it's going to be a huge sum of discussion going into WrestleMania 41
You
in Las Vegas. Thank you.
eat. Okay, now let me say that Cody Rhodes, when he started with WWE, he wasn't good enough. It wasn't him. He wasn't out there. Like they had to pair him up with his dad a couple of times, and he wasn't just really getting over.
AFK, can you
Now
hear
he
me?
got fired.
Did you hear all I have to say?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Should I keep going? What's going on? Am I being heard? Chokwe, do you hear me? Did you hear me?
I
Did you
do
hear
hear
me?
you. I think it's Samuel's network. I do hear you.
Okay. I don't know. Should I keep going or should I wait for him?
I probably
Okay. No, but before Samuel come back. Okay, Samuel is already back, sir. So, can you hear
All
me?
right, AFK. All right, AFK.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
go on.
So I have to. Okay, I have to go now because of my device is really low and there's no light. But before I go, let me address this number baby thing. Now, Cody Rhodes left WWE and he made a name for himself. Keep in mind, he did all this without the Rhodes name. He did it as Cody. He won championships. He built a company. He did all that on his own. Honestly, I understand the fact that Justina is calling me a nepo baby. Yes, it's all this. We have to diss each other in the wrestling business, true. But would you say Cody Rhodes is an actual nepo baby? No, I won't say so. I won't say so. I'd say Cody Rhodes is not living off of his father. Yes, he calls his father's name a lot. Like he calls his father's name a whole lot, almost all the time in his promo. Yes, that's understandable. But the nigga actually he built himself. I understand that in NXT he wasn't as good as Seth Rollins, but trust me, when he left WWE, he became a whole different star. Like he's better. Nigga has fought the best in New Japan. He has defeated the best in Ring of Honor. He has done things that a whole lot of people will not be able to do in WWE. So I feel like his position right now is well deserved because he actually worked for it. He hustled for all these things outside WWE. And again, he did it with just Cody. The Rhodes name was never there. The Rhodes name was never there. If you want to talk about people that are nipple babies, I'll say Charlotte Flair is a nipple baby because, bro, since the Flair is behind her name, she has been winning everything possible. Like, oh, surprise, surprise. But let's keep Charlotte Flair one side. Rose is not necessarily a nipple baby. I just feel he worked for everything he has. To be honest, he worked for everything he has. That's just it.
we can't decide that. I,
Yeah. So, all right. I really like the fact that you addressed that one. Okay. So, I still need us to go all in on that. So, we now went to Rhodes responding to Cena. Rhodes said Cena might be right, but questions if the same can be said about him. He said he was handpicked. He was handpicked, and he was handpicked. For him, he was handpicked himself at one point to be the face of the company. He said everyone is terrified of Cena on the mic, but he can't back up his talk with actions. He says Cena can mock him for talking like a 16-year-old in public speaking class, but all Cena, I'm coming. But all Cena really wishes was that he was 16. He tells Cena not to act like he left WWE better than he found it. Then says there's two of them standing in this ring. He asks Cena which one of them sold out to The Rock. Then says while Cena may still be his hero, is also a piece of we know what that was. So in all of this, you heard what Cody had to say. I know Africa has limited time with us this morning, but in as much as his last name might have opened doors for him and giving him chances, would I even say that it was his last name that got him to AEW? No, it was what those guys did at the first All Out. All In, the All In pay-per-view where the guy Cody, Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, they took the challenge from the man himself, Dave Meltzer, about there's no other company that can sell out 10,000 plus tickets outside the WWE, and those guys took that challenge and they sold out that Allstate, I believe Allstate Arena, or was it the Shares? I need to get my facts right, but I know they sold one of that arena in 4 minutes, in less than 5 minutes, and they sold out those tickets, and those guys put on the show. Then came the birth of AEW. So would I say his name? Maybe yes, his name might have gotten him to the door, but his name will not keep him there. He had to work hard for everything else to say. But to back up what he said to Cena here, telling Cena that he was handpicked. He was handpicked at one point to be the face of the company. Cena should not pretend as if he left the company better than he left it, in the aspect of, oh, he left for Hollywood. We know the story, we know the history, the track record. At the end of the day, the biggest star in this company eventually goes to Hollywood because Hollywood wants the already made stars. And it's as if at some point, pro wrestling might just be the breeding ground for some of the stars we have in Hollywood today. And looking at it, and also Cena, talking about his public speaking thing, we know all of that. The part I did not agree here was when he said Cena should not act as if he left the WWE better than he found it. That line got me in a way of like, what would he expect Cena to do? Like Cena, literally just like anybody, and we should not pretend as if there was no other hand before Cena eventually left for Hollywood for real. There was another hand-picked superstar that the company was trying. They was not only trying, but they were pushing with full force before Cena eventually left. So, is it Cena's fault that the now tribal chief could not, remit the investment that the company was putting in him before 2020 when he became the biggest thing since sliced bread? Is it Cena's fault that did he have to baby him all through, leading up to the time he was he became what he is today? And eventually we will still get to a point where I would really want to remind you this point of like, don't pretend as if you left this company better than you left it, because looking at it, everybody, whether you like it or not, there comes a time as a human being you have to evolve, you have to take new challenges, you have to try out new things. And for Cena, it might just have been the right time for him to say, okay, I think I need to pursue this. We know how this happened years ago with The Rock, how he accused The Rock of living for Hollywood. Everybody eventually accuses themselves of living for Hollywood. We know they will all live for Hollywood one day. It might not just be the time. Some say they will stay. Someone like Randy says he's gonna, pro wrestling is what he loves. That's what he's gonna do till he retires. But we know most of them eventually live for Hollywood. So when you hear a point like this, which one of us sold out to The Rock, and him still at this point to comment on like, why did you have to? We know how much you love this man, but at the end of the day, like right now, you guys are not in the best place to to say this. So for him to say Cena is his hero, but he won't bypass him for still not being a piece of shit for doing what he did to him at the Elimination Chamber. So to you, Topi, how do you see this playing, and this Cody's rebuttal to Cena on all Cena went down on him with?
Well, at that part, you could say that okay, yeah, Cody actually said, Cody actually made sense because of one, when The Rock left, that John Cena was calling The Rock various names. Everybody thought like, oh, John Cena is going to be here with us for a long time. He's not leaving WWE, and
Yeah.
I mean, he ended up going to Hollywood, and I mean, he's doing quite well there for himself. But at the same time, I mean, you had loyal fans who are, even though most of us are still with him and all this kind of stuff, but then he kind of broke everybody's heart and did the same thing the Rock did. And saying he's a sellout, like obviously for the storyline now, he's just like how should I say it? Leaving WWE to Hollywood. So yeah, it's just like something like that at that point, and which is no news. Although nobody expected him to become hero actually, but it just happened. But one the part I won't agree is him saying he was like handpicked. He's saying like maybe once when John Cena entered the company, Vince McMahon saw him and was like, "Oh yeah, oh I like this guy. He definitely has to be the face of my company." We all know that was not what happened. Even I don't know that there was a show they were doing on WWE channel on DSTV, right? Where
Yeah.
um where they were talking about the like just like the backstage things that are going on and all. Where just now was like he was about to get fired or something like that. Then when Kotango came
Yes.
out and issued that challenge when Ric Flair called sorry that's Ric Flair Vince McMahon called everybody out that he needed
Yes. Everybody
somebody
to
that could be
take the
that
brass ring.
Kotango came out and Kotango came out and was calling everybody, and John Cena pulled out and was like ruthless aggression. Before John Cena lost the match, but then it didn't mean much because anybody, Romanis can come out on the stage right now and talk like that, and one random newbie will just pull up and decide to face him. That does not mean you are going to be the face of the company. John Cena worked for it. We all know. Even he said the story of when they were on the bus and it was just like rapping randomly. I
Yeah.
think he said it was him, Rakisha, and Rey Mysterio that were there, and they were just talking randomly like they were rapping, and Stephanie happened to be there and it made it his persona. That was when the Doctor of Togonomics was created. Justna did that shit by himself. What the company did was they just pushed him more. But Justna worked for it. Like if he was not good, do you think the
Okay.
company would waste their time to push him? They would not. So him saying that just now was just handpicked, he's saying it like as if just now just came in and they just picked him and gave him every gimmick that you are this, you are that. Just now worked for it. He did it himself. The company just gave him an extra boost. That was all. So that one he said that just now was handpicked was nah. I don't go with that because someone like Roman Reigns now Omayo is at a point during the COVID when COVID started, he was legitimately the face of the company, was holding the company down. But at the same time, if he was not that good on the mic, if he was not that good at wrestling, do you think he would have lasted long? I mean, if the fans don't like
We
you or the fans feel that your craft is not your craft is not entertaining enough, nobody would want to watch you. But John Cena was actually good. He was actually entertaining. That was why the company saw the potential and gave him that extra push. And he didn't feel them. He did not. So him saying that is just like it's just a petty thing because they called him a nepo baby. So yeah, I disagree at the point when he said John Cena was just handpicked by the company. I disagree strongly.
so if we are talking about someone being handpicked, the most important example for me in my own era would have to be Roman Reigns, because we can still remember what the only rebuttal Cody made during that feud that resonated, that felt as if like that was like that could only be the only thing that you could use that could really burn Roman, when he said you are an 11 years investment that started paying out in year 8. It took you 8 years to actually pay off your investment. God knows the amount of investment, the money, the bodies that had to go down to get him to the tribal chief. It took the pandemic and him going home and coming back to become the what he is today. Now he's revered, he's being respected, he's the man, he's the myth. He's main evented WrestleMania 10 times now. As of by the time we get to Las Vegas, he'll be going into his 10th WrestleMania. Not everybody can have that to say. So we could talk about somebody being handpicked. The two people talking, giving themselves shades. I never look at them as being anything handpicked. They all took they took the bull by the horns and they became what they are. But I understand, for the sake of I'm going to pay you, but I'm going to get you. Get to you. They are trying to get. I feel both of them. They are not. I don't look at them as being handpicked anything. Both of them. I look at two individuals that worked out for every single thing they had or they have at the moment. So not to drag this. I know for sure that this will be like our biggest topic in. So I'm really wanting us to give it the time of the day this morning. So we'll go back to Cena responding back to Cody, saying Cena tells Cody that his brain is not filled with facts, rather faces. He says he worked much harder than Cody Rhodes has. Everyone took the best shot at him. He says every time he gets in the ring, it's a challenge to everyone to see if they are worthy of taking him down. But no one has been able to do that. He says he always been in WWE and never left because he's found a way to make everything he's done great. While Rhodes has to leave to make himself a star. He says he makes empires for billionaires while Rose steals money from their kids. I would love us to, because this was where the AEW company headed by the one and only TK Tony Khan was being mentioned. And obviously, I think I would have to, Cody, had to rebut out to tell him what about, obviously, Cody had told him all about you being handpicked by the man that is not here anymore, the one person that is not here anymore. Also, obviously, calling out Vince McMahon and him being the one that handled Cena. So when you hear something like this, obviously we knew coming in, AEW would definitely have will be called in. So what do you have to say about that particular statement by Cena? Because here is one of the things I really want to get in on this show this morning. Topi, we're in the 21st century. We are I'm the last of the 90s kid. I'm the last of the last. Like immediately I came in, boom, we entered into the 20th and 21st century. Now we have mostly you have the Gen Zs, the people like the 20s, but definitely the 80s and the 90s, it's not as if they don't really get us. They might get us, but they feel it comes off really like we don't work hard enough. Let me not use we because I'm part of the 90s. Let me not have the last of the 90s. they don't work hard enough. They don't pay their dues hard enough. They quit and try new things easily. They don't stick by. The endurance is not part of us. Why do I keep saying us? Part of them. I'm part of the 90s. There's a lot of things that is being called out. But mental health was not really a thing then. Even if it was not anything now. Now it's like the most important thing. Like mental health is really revered. It's really important. In fact, it is the most important part of life right now. Cody was in this company. Cena literally accused him of like, you left. When the going gets tough, you leave. When the kitchen is hot, you leave. Because what? He saw himself. He knew for sure. If I keep staying here, maybe they might it might have changed, but you can never tell if it would have, because you have to look at yourself like, I've been here for 15 years and I still have. Even when his dad died, everybody thought, oh, he will be reverted back to being Cody Rhodes. His last name will be given back to him. He would be who he is. They will remove him from that max and from that suit and that max, and they still put him with that cartoon character and all of it. Like, it was crazy for him. What if he never left? When we are in our 50s, 60s, when documentaries will be made about what ifs in the industry, Cody would definitely be one of those stories that will be told. What if he never left? What if he never left? And he had that run in the Indies, Ring of Honor, TNA, New Japan, and definitely with the creation of All Elite Wrestling. What if Cody never left? what would have happened to WWE today? Because arguably, you can say that the return of Cody Rhodes in this company in 2022 WrestleMania kick-started the era that we are in, the era of more focus on storytelling, more focus on character. Well, it's not as if it was not there before, but as if we are in this era that we are in now. It was Cody coming back to this company with the boss, with the what the hell, like the one guy, the face of the other company, the franchise that is coming against WWE, the man that literally antagonized the company when he was over there, coming back to where he antagonized, like you could never imagine. Cody and Punk will be two of the guys you would say, yeah, never would I see them come back because of the things that transpire between the both parties. So to see Cody come back and then make it back here, and then you have to hear him say things like you have to hear Cena say things like this. You see, I make them billionaires, I make empires while you steal from their kids. You know, referencing Tony Khan. So there's just a whole lot of things involved in this. So in your just to get it to throw it back to you, like what was your take? You know, when you heard this, because for me, I was like with the ideology. Not to really miss my point here. With the ideology of this mental health, like Cena was interested in him. Like for him, he stayed, but Cody left. Like saying like he could have stayed, and you know, just like Cena stayed, took all the shots, took the bad times, the good time. So, Taker had the same story. Taker stayed even when the company was going bleeding, going dry. Where he used to fill up was literally nothing there. He still stayed for 30 plus years till when he retired. Not everybody can be the Undertaker. No, not everybody will be John Cena. Cody is definitely one in the generation that you'll be like, oh, that was one person that was like, it is not going great for me. Let me leave and try new things. And eventually, if I can find my way back, I'm not trying to burn bridges. I can still come back, and then we can still get back to where we were and make it much better. It's a two-part question answering the fact the shade that the shade that Cena threw at him, and also answering this mental health narrative of like you should have stayed, you should have taken taking everything in and manage. You had to leave to go to go do what you have to do to come back here and become the big star. Like, what do you have to say about that? Did you agree with Cena on that point, or is it something you say, nah, that that
If if we're looking at it, like you said, mental health wise, there's nothing wrong in living a place you feel you're not comfortable with and like moving to a better place to start afresh and like start something new. I mean, as much as as much as Cena is in his own right, he's right that Cody should have stayed and fought for his spot in the company, this and this and this and this. If we are being actually honest, Cody was not just good to be on the main roster at that time. So it kind of like affected him. It's just like when I was I don't know if you remember the last when we did a podcast that way it was me, you, AFK, Kamal, Favor, that I talked about Austin Theory. I said
yeah.
they're pushing him too early and it's going to affect him. And look at him now. They've just dropped him into a jobber. So him leaving now, people will be like he left because he was not good enough. Nobody will say that he was not given an opportunity. That's the narrative people try to paint. Why? Because they put him, they pushed him to everyone at a very early stage. So I feel like if they actually let Cody Rhodes stay at NXT, maybe develop at NXT, maybe things would have been better. I felt like it was too early for him to be on the main roster. And they now tried to pair him up with different big name superstars for him to stay relevant. It still did not work out. Something that is happening currently now, let's say if you've been paying attention to SmackDown, someone like Carmelo Hayes, they are trying to pair him up with the Miz little by little, body, whatever. Hayes at NXT was like was having the Adam Cole vibe, like not vibe per se, but that aura, like he was big. He was a big name at NXT. pushed him to
Yeah.
SmackDown, and now he has not done anything very significant. I think his most significant match was his matches with Andrade. That three,
Yes.
this thing, game four. That was all. So I think that was what happened to Cody Rhodes. Mental health wise, okay, yeah, the place was not good enough for him. So the place was, you, you can say, if you want to say mental health, all you have to say that maybe the place was too toxic for him and they needed to clear his head. That was why I left. But if I'm being honest, he was not just good enough at that point, and he was thrown into the crowd without any experience. Like there was no much experience, and that was why he left. He's not. You can't. I can't say it was because of anything. Meant he was not just good enough to be on the main roster at that time. He was not just good enough to be on, and he felt like, okay, let him go and find his feet and come back, which was good, and it worked out for him. I mean, credit to him for creating AEW. Credit to him for having that. As much as I don't watch AEW, I can tell you that I watched the match between him and his brother, because at that point, that was when I think AFK and Favor were trying to put me on AEW. That was one of the reasons why I actually saw that match. So he actually he did good for himself. He came back to WWE and he now became relevant, which helped his career. Yes. But at that point when he left, you can't say it's because of mental health, whatever. I can't give that as an excuse. He was not just good enough. He was not just good enough at that moment. And Justina stayed because, bro, I'm still saying it, if you watch that documentary, the people that were there, they were the names that were more bigger than Justina at that time. I can't remember the name of the
Okay.
show, but it was like NXT. It was like NXT, but it was not NXT. They were Shelton Benjamin. It was, I think, All Snow that was in charge of that program. Shelton Benjamin was there. This guy was there. Batista was there. Brock Lesnar was there. Then John Cena was there. And I think those two were more well known and more bigger than John at that point. Because
I
if you
want
can
to.
remember that way,
Can you hear me? So
yeah,
not
can you?
to. I apologize for cutting in there. The I hate comparison. I hate comparison, but in the world of wrestling, we you can't live without comparing different characters, different superstars, different
Yeah,
eras,
yeah.
different matches, different anything. Would you? Is
Mhm.
it where we have we come to a point where we would say we need to compare who had it tougher? Did Cena have it tougher staying in a company, staying in the locker room that had much bigger stars than him? That he had to work his way
Yeah,
to where he was, and now not only did he get to where he was, he now has to deal with all of the hate, all of the not from the fans, from the office, from the because you can't tell me that it was everybody in that locker room that will be happy with him getting all that love, all that when the company says
yeah.
you are the man, you are the one we are going
Um,
to work with. Every
Samuel,
other person that have been
Samuel,
working to be in that spot,
Samuel.
or would we?
We all
Yeah,
know
I can
that.
hear you.
We all know that John Cena had it tougher than Cody. You can't compare the star power that was in that locker room at John Cena time, that he broke through and he became the face of the company, compared to those that were there when Cody first entered.
Mm.
John Cena had it tougher. Like I won't lie, because like I said, before John Cena became John Cena, when he was still, I can't remember the name of the program, but I know I was watching his documentary on DSTV. Shelton Benjamin
Is it
was
with less
there.
aggression?
Brock Lesnar, Batista
Is it
was
with
there.
less aggression?
Huh?
I believe it should be that
No,
should be
before
with
with
less
less
aggression.
aggression, before they joined WWE main roster, there was a program they used to run. I can't remember the name, but I know that John Cena was there, Lesnar was there. Lesnar and Shelton Benjamin were tag team partners. Yes, I remember that show. Lesnar was there, Brock was there. Who again? No, I don't think, no, Orton
Oh,
was
is
not
it
there.
OVW?
Batista was there.
OVW,
Huh?
run by Jim Cornette.
Yeah, yeah,
OVW, the
yeah, yeah,
OVW
yes,
wrestling
yes,
run by Jim
yes,
Cornette. Cornette always talks about that era. We had all the big stars of today. He was the one that handled all of them, all the egos, all of them. Batista, Randy,
yeah. They were all there.
John, Brock,
They were all there.
Shelton, damn.
Yes, yeah, yeah, they were all there. Vince McMahon came out one random night, issued a challenge to everybody that who is going to take the bull by the horn and become the face of the company. Nobody stepped out. John Cena stepped out. He did his thing. From there, he built himself. Everybody hated him. He even mentioned it when he created the spinning belt. People saw it as very corny, that is disrespecting the championship. Both past wrestlers, both present wrestlers, both the fans. People saw it as corny, and now people now want to buy that same belt. A lot of things John Cena did, a lot of people were just hating because he was that good. Let's not lie. He had it tougher. Cody came back to WWE and nobody has even like, okay, see the way Punk came back, how set has been on his neck. Nobody was on Cody neck like that he left and came back, this and this. Nobody, this like, no, people really talk about it. But someone like Punk, whenever he's there, everybody face always mention the fact that he left the company and he came back. I even argue the fact that Punk is having it tougher now in the company than when Cody Rhodes returned.
Obviously, no, yeah, yeah.
Because
We are
everybody's
not going
calling
to.
Punk out on being this, that he ran away. Huh? What do you say?
I was like, this is not good morning comparison because we are to dissect this. I know we are in the Lions Den section, so there will be a lot of comparison going on right
No, no,
now.
I'm
But
going, that's what I'm doing. I'm going deep into it because if I'm being factual here, Cody didn't have it as tough as John. I get the fact that what he did was good. He went somewhere else, he got a name for himself, and he came back. Fine and good, it was okay. But then not saying that comparing it to John Cena, no, John Cena had it way tougher. Even though the company was
all
pushed, do you know how big you have to be that the company is pushing you and everybody is still hating you?
all right, let
So
let
people now
let
felt
let's
like it was the company that was pushing him. But John Cena naturally was just good. I
let's
mean, in
let's
that same
let's
company, Kotango, he became bigger than Kotango. He became bigger than Ray, bigger than Brock, bigger than the Shelton Benjamin himself, became bigger than Austin. Like, bro, the star power he had to go up against were much.
let's
And John Cena pulled through.
now let's work on taking this show on taking this one home. When with Cody rebutting and before hitting him with the crossroads, I'm telling him which one of us did at least you can say anything about me, but at least never once did anyone chant you can't wrestle at me. When him saying that, definitely that is him throwing shade at Cena that he in this question Cody Rhodes is and was a better pro wrestler than John Cena. So I am now throwing that at you. Who do you think is the better pro wrestler, John Cena or Cody Rhodes? Because with him initiating that, he never in his career, or as he has never in his career gotten fans to chant "You can't wrestle" at him, throwing shade that he can't wrestle in the ring. We know Cena as the 5'2" player. He punches the five knuckle shuffle, the FAA, I believe the shoulder tackles, and then the STF. He's a 5'2" player. But Cody can work with just about anybody. Cody can work with the high flyers. Cody can work with the brawlers. Cody can actually be a powerhouse. He can. But him throwing that shit at Cena that there was once a time in your life or once a time in your career that you could not do, you could not cut it in the ring. But I've always caught it inside that ring. I just wasn't as lucky as you. I wasn't handpicked like you. I just didn't get it. You can argue all you want, like, oh, Cena had it tougher, he did this, he did that, but we all understand that when it comes to you having the chance and opportunity, it all depends on right time, right person, right opportunity. Now Cody is saying, calling him out on him not being the best wrestler at his time, even when he getting the shade. So to you, who would you say is the better pro wrestler in this
As
context?
as
Sorry.
as, as John Cena said on Monday, as he said, I don't bury talent. I am talent.
I am.
I bury
Damn,
mediocrity.
damn.
Don't Kojo should not dare compare himself with John Cena. He should not. If you want to go match for match, John Cena has had a better match than Cody. I can't
Big
you
match,
can't okay, you can name some.
big match, John.
Yes, when it comes to match, like paper view matches, Cody John Cena has had more. Like wait, okay, yes. Cody can work with about anybody. He's just like Seth Rollins kind of wrestler. Seth
Yeah.
can work with a high flyer, with a grappler, with a this thing, with powerhouse. Yeah. Cody too can do it because of what his body and this thing. I think I'll give him that. That okay, maybe he's more flexible than Cena. But bro, if Cena want to pull out some certain moves from his bag, someone as big as him, everybody will be shocked. But he can't just be doing that constantly because that's not his style of wrestling. It's just like
Yeah.
saying, oh, but Roman Reigns can't fight because he only does spear, Superman punch. He just does slam, nothing more. You expect Roman Reigns to climb the ring and start doing 450 splash. You expect him to be doing frog splash or doing suicide dive. Like, come on, man. Because he does not do it does not mean he's not a good wrestler. But that particular one he's good in, you can't beat him in that. Okay, what style of wrestling is Cody Rhodes good at? Okay, yeah. He's in between a high flyer and should I say power? No, I can't even say
A
powerhouse
brawler.
per se.
No,
Because
not powerhouse. I
a
will look at him
brawler,
as a
okay, yeah,
brawler and a hybrid guy,
okay,
high flying and brawling. He knows how
that
to
one,
get
yeah,
in
yeah,
with the
yeah.
best
But
of
then
who
John
is calling
Cena
the
can brawl.
powerhouse.
John Cena can brawl.
Yeah.
John Cena is a powerhouse. John Cena is a
Yes.
grappler too because he has some mad submission move set. The only thing that
Yes.
you can say, okay, John Cena is not that good at is him being
High
a high flyer, which
and yes.
that nigga can still fly. He can still fly. Let's not mistake that. John Cena can still fly. But if people are trying to water that down because he does not do that every time. And he can. Me and you know that he can. See someone like Randy. Randy is not as big as John Cena, but Randy can fly like Cena. Drew McIntyre can fly like Cena. Damian Priest can fly like Cena, but Cena can actually fly, bro. Let's not pretend like he can't. He can. Like he can move his body. It's because he's old now. That's why people feel like, oh yeah, this guy is pushing 40 already, if not 40 something. That's why people are feeling like, oh, he can't wrestle and this. Dude can actually fly. It's because he was not given the creative freedom to do that in his prime. Because I'm sure if he was doing it constantly, whatever Cody said, he would not have the balls to say it. End of discussion.
All right, so we move on to one of the best this thing. We are gonna add this today because we have to, still on the Lions then section for more of this discussion. We'll be live on Friday. We'll be live on Saturday with the weekly wrestling review. That will be handled by Sakev, our host and producer, the man in charge of the channel, the one that runs the plate. He will be running that. Obviously, I believe Chris will be on and other. And if I get an invite, I would be there. But for now, this is still Good Morning Wrestling as part of the Heel of the Ring podcast here on Sports Jedi Network. If you haven't subscribed, you love the conversation, just check out the top left hand side of your screen. You can, subscribe, turn on the notification buttons so that you don't miss any live sessions we're going to do. This is the Sports Jedi Network with UFC, MMA, boxing, NFL, NHL, NBA. We do it all here. Wrestling. We are here. Good Morning Wrestling live on the Sports Jedi Network. I'm still your host, Samuel Lyon, and joining me here from Nigeria too. This is Topi. Man, for us being the first international live show being hosted on this channel, it's a dream come true. It's an amazing opportunity, and we can't really take this for granted. So this is still Good Morning Wrestling. It's our Lions Den section. This is a segment where we dissect the biggest story, the biggest happenings in the world of professional wrestling. And Topi, there comes a time in a man's life where you would have to deal with the noise. You have to deal with the issues. You have to deal with the pains of being a man. You know, for Jey Uso's part, he is not only the man that is that is having a lot to deal with. This is a man that is also having to deal with pain, having to deal with people questioning him since this man was born. We know the birth of main event Jey Uso is bettered out of doubt, bettered out of you being questioned, bettered out of you can't do it, bettered out of everybody don't see you. I mean, this man literally was in tears when he said, every single time I go out, every single time I'm out on the street without my brother, everybody comes up to me and says, which one are you? Like they don't even know, they mostly did not even know his name. he had to work his way to become the man that he is today. They don't call him main event Jey Uso for anything. He proved it throughout the pandemic. For the past 5 years, this man has, worked his way to become one of, if not the biggest thing to come out of the pandemic. Has been someone that put in the work. He was there every week with his cousin, with the family, the bloodline, putting in the work. And when he was finally separated, Cody bringing him to Raw, this man has proved. The Yeet movement is the biggest thing in pro wrestling as of today. You can argue that with your mama, you can argue that with your family members, because it's the truth. If you try to push that man aside, you are just trying to push out the truth. We know the netizens, the IWC has been clamoring on him, has been giving him debts, have been trying to tell him how he's not good. Why would they go in? Why is he the winner? Why is he this? He's not going to. And then talk about challenge. Talk about being put in the toughest situation you could ever have as a human being. They are putting him against. It's challenging. It's been put against the man he has never won against. It's been put against the ring general, the man, the myth, the legend. Gunther is everything they say he is. Gunther is everything you read about him, everything you've heard about Gunther. That is Gunther 101. Dude, 10 weeks. Gunther promised him 10 weeks of hell. And would we say Jimmy slapping the taste? I mean, I asked Sakev on our last Saturday show, I'm like, how much did Jimmy, how much did Gunther owe Jimmy to deserve such, I mean, he slapped the holy taste out of his mouth. And I told Sakev, I'm like, by the time we get back on this Saturday night show, we need to talk about how Gunther literally murdered Jimmy. I told him I needed a bloodbath because I would not think Gunther would take that slap lying down. I mean, he's a man's man. That's how Gunther is a man's man. He's one of those ones that, they will not turn the other cheek and give it to you to slap. He would take on that shit with everything he has. And we saw what he did on Monday. And he took it to the extreme. How do you give your opponent hell? He handcuffed him, he zip tied him to the rope, and made him watch helplessly as he single-handedly, with no help, with no gimmick, no chair, no cane, no tables, no nothing, with his 2 fists. He used his fist to bloody that man. He beat that man to death. and right now, I know it's not something to laugh about, but when you do what we do, when you love what we love, when you watch what we watch, you would understand why I giggled a lot, because Gunther literally birthed with Jimmy's blood, tasted that shit and spit it out. And the fact that he sees these people as nothing, like he says they are like Jay is nothing, like Jay is nothing more than an entrance. Talk about another person being doubted here. Nothing but if I strip this entrance from you, you are nothing. And we know Jimmy, sorry, I said Jay. Jimmy, it's Jay. Jimmy here is the better pro wrestler. In-ring product, in-ring wise, Jimmy is the better one than Jay. But in terms of character, in terms of aura, as the kids will say, in terms of charisma, in terms of presence, star power, give it to Jay. Jay can turn it up to 110 when you sing. When you see Jay, you want to connect. But in the ring, that is where the issue is with the fans all around the world. Everybody's questioning his in-ring work. So Jay doesn't just have to overcome Gunther. He is fighting not only Gunther at WrestleMania, he's fighting the perspective, the narrative of fans all around the world, both the ones coming to watch him and the ones we watching at home and those watching online. Everybody can't wait for him to fumble. Talk about Tony Fumble on NXT of this talent. Everybody wants him to crash. Everybody wants him to fumble. What is your take when it comes to this match, this story, this feud, and the bloodbath we got this past Monday when it comes to Jay Uso and Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas? I'm really intrigued to hear what you have to say when it comes to this, because I know for sure you have a lot to take down here.
First off, A moment of silence for what they did to Big Jim. Big Jim. Ooh. Okay, okay, okay. So now, yes, Monday's this thing between Jay and Gunther. It was basically what saved that pay-per-view. I mean, it's bad enough that for someone that won the Royal Rumble is not going to main event WrestleMania, which was the whole persona of the main event Jey main event Jey main event Jey. And at the end of the day, he's not going to main event this thing. People were doubting that Jay should not win the championship because he does not look like somebody that is able to carry that championship. He's not someone that will become the face of the company. So a lot of dragging and all after I won the Royal Rumble, it seems a lot of people didn't want that. But them now bringing him his brother Jimmy, I think is actually what is going to help this feud. Okay, now after what happened to him, to Jimmy on Monday, Jimmy had to pay the
Mm,
price for the storyline to become more intense. Like now everybody will know that if Jay should actually win, it means he did it for his brother, for what they did to his brother, and the match will now look more. I mean, he's botched his match against Austin Theory. The spear, the suicide dive, everything was just off. Then they now turned it into a storyline, which now made sense. Then adding what happened to Jimmy on Monday is like the tip of the
mm,
iceberg. It's now like meant this storyline as something that people would actually want to watch now because everybody will be like, oh, would Jay crash out on Gunther? What would Jay do? You know that kind of thing. Because Gunther is now in his head. Gunther is now
yeah.
Gunther now owns his mind. Because the person that is trying to calm him down and bring him to his senses, which was Jimmy, he has been taken out of the equation. Jimmy has been taken out of the equation. So Jay is basically left alone. He has nobody to run to now. So Gunther is now like Gunther. In a way, if you look at it logically, Gunther has the edge over Jay now because Jay head will not might not be Jay will be fighting like out with anger, and you know that if you are fighting angry, the chances of you winning that fight is slim because your head is not fully focused. This and this. So Gunther is just Gunther. This Gunther form of mind game. He's trying to mess up Jay mind. He's just trying to mess him up to make him to. He's trying to break Jay totally, which is actually working. Which is working
Mm,
because after seeing what he did to his brother now, his head might not be there because he's worried about his brother and now he has to face Gunther again. So Gunther has the upper. I mean, Gunther doing it without his henchman Ludwig is actually crazy. Like it's crazy. So now, before, right, I won't lie. As much as I love the Usos, I mean, I could consider them as my top three greatest tag team or my top three favorites. Let me not say greatest, but my top three favorite tag team of all time. I consider them as they're part of my top three. As much as I love Jay and the Heat, the main event Jay, it was nice and everything. At a point, right, the storyline was looking foggy and draggy, and I was like, Gunther should just retain because there was no point. But seeing all this, like the past 2 weeks, from Raw to SmackDown, when Jimmy smacked Gunther and Gunther doing this, I'm not like, nah, Jay has to win because now the rivalry is now more intense. Like there's something to fight for, which is more than the championship, which now
yes.
makes sense because now it's now more personal because Jay was losing it on his own. Let me just break it down. I don't know, this is still the storyline right now. Jay was losing it on his own. Okay, if you want to add the botch as part of the storyline, let's add it. Jay was losing it mentally. Gunther was getting ahead of him in any attack, everything. Gunther was beating him, Mike, everything. Then Jimmy as the big
Yes.
brother now stepped in. I was like, oh, I have to help my big brother. Putting aside his own personal game because he said he wanted to go after the United States Championship at WrestleMania. If you can remember when he said that to LA Knight,
Yes. Yes.
he
Yes.
put aside his own personal gain to help his younger
Your
brother achieve
brother.
his goal. Yeah. So
Yes.
he did that, right? And him doing that was like, oh, admirable, like, oh, the big brother stepped in for his little one and all this kind of like stuff, right? So he dropped aside everything to help his big brother. Then he's now trying to face, so Gunther is now like Jay Bully. So he's trying to face the bully that is disturbing his junior one, and he ended up getting the stick. He ended up getting messed up blood. Gunther is even leaking his blood, spitting it out, choked him out. Different, he manhandled Jimmy in front of Jay. So now this fight is now going to be more personal, which I'm now, before, my anticipation for this match was around like a 2/10. Now it has gotten to a 6/10. So yeah, I'm actually hyped and anticipating this match. As much as them not being main events is none of them fault, because they didn't look like, the match didn't look like something that should be a main event match. I mean, you can't say this should be a main event match over the triple threat match between Seth, Punk, and Roman. That more looks like a bigger match than this. So I don't blame them at all. But now
Mm.
people would want to tune in to watch this because it's now more personal. It's more than a championship now. It's now going to be more personal. So yeah,
Yeah.
that Jimmy actually sacrificed himself to save this storyline, which is admirable. My respect for him has actually gone up right now. Like bro, so yeah, it's actually what
So you are
the feud is actually what.
so you are saying you love your match with stories. If you have a match that has a story behind it, it's more palatable to have it. You don't want to go into a show
Yeah,
and
yeah,
everything
yeah,
is just match after match, match after match, nothing to
yeah.
get
I
you
prefer.
your emotional
That's why
investment. You know, wrestling. Yeah, go on. Pro wrestling is grown men's soap opera.
that's why I said. That's why I said. Forget the fact that okay, yeah, they are there to fight, but then two people can't just fight if there's nothing behind it. I can't just see you on the road and say, "Oh, let me beat you up because I feel like beating you up." Yes, it does happen, but then it will not just make sense to anybody that I saw you on the road and I decided to beat you up. What did you do to me? Nothing. Did I take anything from you? Nothing. Have we met before? Nothing. But I just felt like beating you. That one can be something, but then it's not something that will keep me glued to my screen to be watching. But if there's a story behind it, like, oh yeah, this stuff actually happened, that's why this is happened. It's, I don't know, I just like wrestling matches based off a storyline, because they're adding emotion to it and everything. So you now be like emotionally attached to that story, not just watch it for entertainment, but you are going to be fully glued and invested in what is happening with those people. So yeah, I actually enjoy like matches or pay-per-view matches that actually has a decent storyline to it.
All right, so still based on the story going on, based on stories. So one of the biggest story coming out of last night's NXT is the man from the from AEW, formerly known as Ricky Starks, now Ricky Saints, pinning the then champion Sean Spears, still someone from NXT, the main roster actually, that was released, that went broke his way into AEW, made waves there, stayed there for years, came back to WWE while in NXT and literally won the championship, I believe, a couple of weeks ago. And now Ricky Saints, almost, I believe, in his first month in the company, now champion. And with the way they ended the show, attacked by a former colleague, still from the other company, AEW, with all ego Ethan Page. So, man, looking at this story going on right now with Ricky Saints trying to prove now Ricky Starks, now Ricky Saints trying to prove himself. We know he's always been referred to the young Dwayne the Rock Johnson, with a little bit of a sprinkle of Stone Cold Steve Austin in him. This guy has literally gone through hell and high water. It literally escaped Guantanamo, Guantanamo Bay to to make it to NXT, and being released, and immediately having to make waves and make his way down here. So with him becoming champion, and obviously you might not have really followed the career, but the way all this man have to go through. I know for sure you always keep your tabs with the world of wrestling. You might not really dabble into it when it comes to everything, but you sure know what is going on. So looking at this with everything you had to overcome to become the NXT North American champion as we speak, what's your take on that, and how do you see him going forward and do you think?
I
Would you
mean,
be all into his Ethan Page going forward? I believe Star and Deliver they will be having a match for that championship
Vicky Saints, formerly known as Vicky Style, this Vicky.
with the
What I'll say is
stats. With the
that
stats.
as much as I didn't watch him in AEW, not that I didn't, but I could remember when the AFK and the rest were trying to put me on AEW. That they mentioned his name, they mentioned MJF, they mentioned is it Warlock, Jungle Boy, what's the name of that tag team again?
Is it the Young Bucks?
Young Bucks, they mentioned the Young Bucks, they mentioned there are a lot of superstars they mentioned at that point, which I knew him then, but he was not as big as the rest in AEW when AFK were telling me about them. So I don't know how much he had grown. But when I saw he signed for WWE, I was like, huh, that's
Yeah,
actually nice because he's actually a pretty decent wrestler. I won't lie. As much as I don't follow that, I mean, I have Twitter, so yeah, I see some of these matches, but I just don't know what is going on. That's why I said I prefer matches that have storyline. At least I know what is going on. But I just don't know what's going on. But then I was pretty enjoying him, and
okay.
he actually does a pretty decent. Like his spear is actually quite good. I give that to him. And then his famous, I mean, for us that watch anime, his famous JoJo pose, yeah, which actually made me to even like him too, yeah. So he came into NXT. People were like he doesn't belong there, doesn't belong there, doesn't belong there. And what did he do? He won the North American Championship and shut all the hater up. So which I won't lie, I like the route WWE is taking. You cannot predict what they're about to do. This
Yes.
nigga just came in when about a week or two and they handed him a championship. And he has the
They handed him
charisma to
on
actually
what he
carry
earned
it.
it. Yes,
He
he
has
earned
the
it. He earned
charisma.
it. Congrats, yeah.
He has the charisma to actually carry that championship. He deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's on page now attacked him, which is now nice. And we now had the famous cheer from the crowd. Tony Khan effed up, Tony Khan effed up, Tony Khan effed up,
Tony
which
fumbled.
I was like, yeah,
Tony fumbled.
I'm all in for any AEW. I'm all in for any AEW hits, man.
Come
So
on,
seeing
come on,
these two
come on.
at maybe they are going to face each other at is it Stand and Deliver that is our next pay-per-view?
Yeah, yeah. Stand and deliver is the next one.
Yeah. If they are going to I won't be mad at that because Ethan Page himself, all ego. I so much like the guy. I like that persona. It
Okay.
was nice. Like his run as NXT champion was actually pretty decent. His fight
Yeah.
with Javon Evans, the street
Javon
fight
is that
was
is
was
that dude.
good.
Is that dude.
It was
Is
good.
that dude.
It was so good. So yeah, Ethan Page versus Ricky Saints. I'm actually in for it. But then I'm sure Ricky Saints is going to retain. I'm definitely sure he's going to retain because that guy can wrestle, man. This guy delivered a jackhammer from the top rope. Like, bro, do you know how
Is
crazy you
that
have
good.
to do that?
Is that good.
It,
You know, congrats to
bro, do you
yeah.
know what? I can't say that.
What?
I would say that I'm pissed off that like I just don't want to give AEW a chance. I mean, even right now, two people are even saying it has gotten bad compared to before. But I wish that time that I would have watched him more at AEW. Maybe I would have enjoyed, but I won't even like the guy is actually good. Like
Now you
he's
have the
good,
chance.
man. He's good,
Now
good.
you now you have the chance. So, from the Sports Jedi Network, Good Morning Wrestling Show, as part of the Hill of the Ring podcast, congratulations to our current and newest North American champion in Ricky Saints. Still on the Lions then section. We are still on champions and the liver review coming up WrestleMania weekend. I know you would know who this is. So yeah, on our morning the new the one of the segments of Good Morning Wrestling is the morning tea. You know, the morning top tea. So the morning top tea is the biggest topics that is more um, we have Hi, Luther. Luther Perry, thank you so much for joining us. You've stayed for the whole conversation. I love that. He says Ethan Page versus Saints will be at stand and deliver. Yes, yes, yes. We acknowledge that that will be at stand and deliver, and those guys will definitely cook because I believe they would definitely want the other company to see how big they would have been if given more of this opportunity, if they believed more in them. And we would love to see them cook at stand and deliver. Thank you so much, Mr. Perry, for chiming in there on our chat. You can send in your chat while we are here addressing some of the biggest morning top tea, the biggest topics that we can see as tea. So, Topi, seeing yeah, you would see a couple of pictures in, and I want us in no less than few minutes to rapid fire answer some of the questions here. So first off, I would like to go with Stephanie Vaquer. Stephanie Vaquer became double champion during the show at Madison Square Garden Theater, where she won the NXT Women's Championship from Julia, and she became double champion. And as of last night, it was announced by the general manager, Dwayne the Rock Johnson's daughter Eva, with Stephanie in the ring, that she is vacating the women's North American Championship. That they would be allowing that to be in a ladder match as stand and deliver, and six other women will qualify to compete at that match at that show. And she automatically at that time is vacating the women's North American Championship. Just so to not waste much of our time, would you say how you felt when you saw that, and what's your take on, like, because she actually defended those two championships last week and she was successful. Why did they move for that to drop it? I feel as if champions. I get the fact that those are that's she going to be in two divisions. She has to carry two stories. Was it not possible for them to test her, to allow her to test that? Obviously, you see her fight that she could really pull this. Why couldn't they let her pull it? And do you think it was the best decision to have her drop one and focus on one?
Nah, I was disappointed actually because I didn't see the point of making her win it, then telling her to now relinquish it after like some weeks. Because yeah, it actually makes no sense at all. What's the point of making her a double champion if you know she's going to just relinquish the belt? I mean, you should have given her a long ass run with it. There's nothing wrong in her being in two storyline. There's nothing wrong. She could actually still do it, but I just don't know why, because I think they did the same thing with Kit Lee when he was North American champion and NXT champion. He was told to relinquish one of the belts.
Yes.
I just don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know why you make somebody a double champion and be telling the person to relinquish one of the belts. It makes no
That's
sense
crazy.
at all. So I don't know. I don't know why they did it, because they didn't give us any much logical explanation. The explanation they gave us was just book crap. Honestly, it was because
I,
before, why didn't they put that? Why didn't they put that into consideration before they made her a double champion? Why is it after they made her a double champion they're not putting that into consideration? After giving
I,
us, after putting us on something, expecting something good, something great, you just removed, like just took it away from us. So I was actually disappointed seeing that. It makes no sense at all. They just disappointed all of us. I won't even lie. The only
for
way
me,
to make it up with us is if the 6 woman ladder match for the North America Championship actually makes sense. If it does not make sense, then I'll just be like, even though it makes sense, I'm still not in support of them separating the championship.
that's crazy. For me to seeing that, I was actually disappointed too. I'm like, I wanted her to carry it. I wanted her to prove it. I know it would be a hard act, but I believe by she winning, it would have already proved that, oh, they were ready to prove to us that, oh, this could be a thing. But yeah, well, we'll see how that goes. Next to the still on the morning top tier on Good Morning Wrestling with Samuel Lyon, still joining us here on the call on the right in studio. Topi, thank you so much for still joining us. You see Rhea holding up the EO Skies World Heavyweight Championship, and the whole craziness going on with EO and Bianca and Ripley. It's looking like it's going to still be a triple threat. What's your take on that and that story going into WrestleMania? Do you think Rhea should be added into that match? And if if that should be the case. Do you think they were able to do it justice enough to for you to see them add that match, add that to the match for WrestleMania to be a triple threat with what they did on Monday?
I well, they might end up doing that. Either they do that or she come to WrestleMania and interfere in the match. Is that one of the two? But for me, she should just allow Bianca and Io Sky to fight and face the winner. But if it becomes a triple threat match, I won't be mad at that actually, because I mean the three of them in a triple threat match, it actually makes sense. So, but if it ends up being a triple threat match, I definitely don't want Rhea Ripley to win. As much as as much as I like Rhea Ripley, I don't want her to win. I do not want her to win. You should just give
All
it
right,
to
so
somebody else. She should just take her losses and maybe move on, or wait till after WrestleMania for the next champion and face whoever is the winner. It's just as simple as that. It's not that hard. Her trying to force herself into the conversation is just being too much. It's been too extra.
all right, so this is morning top TL. Good morning wrestling with Samuel Lyon to be on the studio with us. Breaking things down. With top T, the segment we rapid fire talk about the biggest things going on. It's not the Samuel Lyon them section. So still on the top T, you could see Karrion Kross's picture on our top T list, top five for the show. Karrion Kross is now being reported by Fightful Select that is in his career, in his contract here, meaning that his contract might be expiring with the World Wrestling Entertainment (WWE). Do you see a world where, actually, with what is not as if it's been able to do anything significant, but Cross has been on our TV, has been cutting promotes on social media. He's been there. He's doing many events, the show before Raw. He's been there, doing that event and all of that. But like he's not like been an impact on the shows, the main shows. So do you think Cross is resigning, or do you think he's taking his talent elsewhere at the end of his contract here, since he's in his contract here for
Um,
WWE?
I don't know what WWE actually, because when they brought him back, I was thinking maybe we'll get that NXT Karrion Kross back, but
And they tried a
apparently
lot of
we didn't
things,
get that.
Roman, Drew, and nothing really came out
Yeah,
of that.
but
Like,
I don't know. I don't know. They're not making him look like the guy that if he talks to you, then you become something evil, like something bad will happen to you. Because
mm,
so far, I've been seeing a trend on Twitter. Whenever I speak to like a wrestler,
they
they
start
just
seeing that.
become, yeah,
Mm,
something. They start doing this dark side. So I don't know. Maybe they're trying to make him the maybe that evil, that demon that is always on your shoulders, that is saying something evil to you, that is trying to mess up your mind. Maybe that's what they're trying to make Kenyan cause. But at the same time, we need to see him in the ring. That this guy is too good to just be a side or a mid card kind of guy. He's too good. So yeah, I just hope that he renews the contract and WWE actually give him something good to do. But
yeah.
let's just wait and see.
All right, so still on the morning top T. Yeah, shout out to Luther Perry. He's chiming in. It will be a triple threat, and I dig it. Still on the Rhea Ripley, Bianca, and Io Sky's match. Luther is saying he would dig it. Yeah, shout out to Luther. Luther would love to see that too, and we'll see what those ladies will cook. So, to be rapid fire, the two remaining topics here. I want you to go as fast as you can to give your take on this. So, Logan Paul and AJ Styles will be going one on one at WrestleMania. Netizens are saying the AJ deserves better. They would have more, do more, and all of that. But when I saw this being announced, in fact, I was kind of like disappointed. 2 weeks into WrestleMania, and they should have built in more story, do more things. But AJ is nothing but the best talent we have in the entire wrestling in world combined, not only WWE, in the entire wrestling world combined. And we know how good Logan Paul is. Forget who the man is outside of the ring, but when the bell rings, that man is a beast. And this could be one of the sleeper wrestling match in that. This would be one of the sleeper match in that show where we will come out of WrestleMania like we did not expect. We know for sure who they were, but we did not expect them to do what they did. Those guys, I could see these guys stealing any nights they will be on. They might leave if they give them. It's okay. We give you 45 minutes. Go out there and cook. Those guys might literally steal the entire show. So, what's your take on that? And rapid fire need to combine to join it with the craziness going in Judgment. You can see the Judgment Day picture there with Liv, Raquel, Carlito, Finn, and Dominic. A lot is going on there. Do you see Finn turning on Dom and finally turning Dom babyface in this career since he debuted in 2020 with Seth Rollins and doing his dad's feud? So, like, what do you have to say about this thing as we move out of
Um,
top T?
First of all, as much as Logan Paul and AJ Styles feud just came in like recently, I'm actually still hyped for it. It's more like arrogant upcoming superstar versus a veteran. So I can't actually pick who I want to win. Logan Paul winning, I will not be mad at that because he's actually a pretty good superstar, and I would actually want to see him have gold on his waist again because his United States Championship one was pretty decent. But then AJ Styles winning, I would love to see that. I need AJ Styles to have a championship run before he retires from WWE. Like I need it. So whoever wins, I will actually not be mad. But if I'm to actually pick who this match is going to favor the most, it's going to favor AJ Styles the most because it will push him more to a title match. But why for Logan Paul it will be more like just to rub his ego that yeah he's actually better than the old men in the company. So yeah, I'm not mad at this matchup. I'm actually anticipating this too. Um for the Judgment Day, right? I don't even
Yeah.
know what's going on, honestly. All I can see is that Carlito trying to get in with Raquel Rodriguez and she's not giving him the green light or not minding any of his whatever. Finn and Dominic trying to argue who the leader of the Judgment Day is, but Dominic is just trying to play it cool and Finn is the hot-headed one trying to force himself into anything. JD McDonald is out for a long time. I just hope he's doing fine right now. Then Dominic is like, oh, let's get in one new person, and Finn is like, no, he does not want that. He's the leader. He's trying to claim that, and I'm sure it's something that Dom is not good with, he's not cool with, but he's just trying to play it cool. Just like the way he betrayed Rhea Ripley and pushed out of the Judgment Day, he might do the same thing to Finn, or maybe. Oh, you guys are not forgetting what Dominic did at what match was that against? Well, I can't remember the pay-per-view against Liv Morgan that Liv Morgan was pissed at Dominic. Maybe Liv and Finn might be planning on, I don't know, pushing Dominic out as a form of revenge for what he did to her. It might be possible, but you can never tell. That's why there are storylines because there are different storyline for everything. But let's just wait and see. I don't see any of them breaking up. They've teased them breaking up a lot of times, like a whole lot of times, and apparently it has not yet happened. So let's just wait and see how it goes.
All right, Toby, and thank you so much for being part of this. And in terms of like the numbers being retained here, people have the viewers have stayed in, and the conversation has been flowing. And this has been like a great opportunity to have you on here. Like you've never disappointed me. The chemistry we were arguing, could we still do this? Could the boys still be back? And like I'm always happy. I'm like you are always, I will still be the newest kid on the block, and you've always been that. I don't want to go there. But to me, thank you so very much. Joining the Good Morning Wrestling with me, Samuel Lyon here, and on as part of the Hill of the Ring podcast on Sports Jedi Network. I really appreciate you, but we'll let you go with this one, this last Lions Den section. So um so Brett, wait, I'm sorry, we need. Let me see what we have here. Great. So Brett, the Hitman Hack, as you can see on the screen, was on an interview with Ariel Owani, the MMA, the reporter, and he had a whole lot to say. So I have some of the transcript from the interview. So we'll end the show with this. We'll make sure we'll end on the top of the hour before the top of the hour before the next before we hit our two. We are going to make sure we are out of here and you can enjoy the rest of your morning. And please, if you have not subscribed, you know where to subscribe. Hit the top of the screen, subscribe, hit the notification button to tune into to get notification on all of our shows: UFC, NFL, NHL, wrestling. Saturday on our weekly wrestling review. We still have a live show for you on Friday. This show, Good Morning Wrestling, will be live here, and I'm really elated to bring this show to you on the road. And I'm so thankful for Sarkev, the host, the producer, the man that runs things, the man that gives the opportunity to get this thing done. And I'm so elated. So while we wait for Topi to connect back on, it's been amazing having this show on. And like you see on the screen, the man, the myth, the legend, Brett the Hitman Hart was on the show with Ariel Owani, and he had a lot of things to say. He he did go in on topics, and obviously how much we know how much how Ariel Owani adores him. Ariel Owani loves him so much. He's his favorite pro wrestler, and he did show him all that love. He's been showing him all that love in any interview he's on. And so, P, he had this to say. So, Brett was asked about WWE post Vince McMahon, and he had this to say. These are excerpts from Ariel Owani, the show itself. So he said, I feel that as great as Vince McMahon was, as far as ideas and imagination, in a lot of ways, there's nobody like him. At the same time, I feel that he kind of governed things in shady way. He didn't care necessarily about the craft. I think there's a little more integrity right now. And we know obviously the man that is in charge, you can see him on the screen, Triple H. He now also said, I think there's little more integrity right now. The guys that are being pushed because they are talented and not because they are Vince's favorites. When you hear something like that, and from the man, the legend himself, what comes to mind?
Like, I mean, we've been saying it for a while. Like, if you are Vince's favorite, he's definitely going to like push you more than anything. I mean, Mama Ray said it when he was cooking Austin Theory, that I'll beat you and send you back to your daddy. It's some like Vince does. If Vince like you, he would make sure that he pushes you over anybody. Okay, let's use football terms now. Take for example Messi. Messi is very good, but because I like let me say I like someone like who should I use now? Let me say because I like somebody like let me say like Wegos, because I like Wegos and I'm the one in charge of anything football. I'm pushing Wegos to win the Ballon d'Or over Messi, who is more talented. That's what is happening in WWE under Vince. Vince does not care about talent. It's just like, oh, I like this person and I want this person. Then that's what it goes for. Like that's why I see a lot of talents under Vince were actually buried. The likes of Shinsuke, the likes of Cesaro, the likes of who should I mention again?
Bobby,
I mean,
Bobby
see someone like
Roods,
Miz too, they drop Miz to
Cross,
nothing. But
Maze,
Babu, a lot.
oh
I
God,
mean, the
a
hot, the
lot.
hot, the hot business would have been a very big. The hot business would have been a very big faction if they actually gave them a decent push. I'm sure if Triple H was in charge, the hot business would have been a very dis, a very dominant faction. Someone like said you had Cedric Alexander, you had Shelton, you had Brock Lesnar. No, that's it. Sorry, you had Bobby Lashley, and you had MVP. Like, bro, it was cool. It was crazy. Okay, then who again? There are a lot, bro. Like, there are a lot I can mention that they were just buried under. They were just pushed aside because they wanted to push a certain person or a certain this thing. So yeah, I don't know. He's actually right. Vince Cup time was based on favoritism, and because he had the money and the name was already big. But what Triple H is doing is like he's giving you opportunities depending on how good you are. That's why I just wish I could see Favor right now and laugh at his face. Because when I was telling him that Austin Theory is not going to last, he was telling me Austin Theory was the next John Cena, Austin Theory was this, Austin Theory was that. But look at him now. He's a jobber.
Still,
He's just
still
there.
to
Like he's
still,
nothing.
all right, not to cut you off because we are behind time. We are trying to end early. So still on this Vince, this thing. This is Bret Hart still on Ariel Arani show. Last night, yesterday, he did say, I always thought the fact that of what he did to me. I like to think I was his greatest artist, and in the end, I was just another. Get rid of him. He cleaned his hand. Boom, he's done. I think as much as greatness as Vince brought to the rest to wrestling, he also brought a lot of negative kind of corrupted thinking to it. When you hear things like that, what comes to mind? To because we know we have to hear things in all of this.
Ah, I can't say it on camera, but then we all know the allegation stuff. One and two,
Yeah.
he was I don't know. He had this from what I saw. He had this. There were some a lot of
Bro,
there were a lot
it's a
of
whole
weird
lot.
storylines. No, no, I know that. I'm trying to be censored right now.
Yeah,
There
because
were, there
it's
were a lot of weird storyline, like the part when I don't know if you remember the storyline when he was like he impregnated his own daughter. I don't know if you remember that storyline.
oh shit, oh
That
shit. Let's not.
was just weird. That thing weirded me out when I heard about it. I was like, what the fuck? Like the man moved in a certain way that was not pure at all. But I think nobody had the balls to like step up to him. That was why he could go out and continue with all his antics and everything. But at the end of the day, it was just so I mean, even but that is a perfect example that as much as he loves you, he can switch up on you anytime. He can switch
Yeah.
up on you anytime, and
All right. Um, I believe Toby is glitching there. So yeah, it's it's exactly what they think it is. So sincerely, with everything that happened with Vince and knowing fully well how this whole scenario was, and I'm really glad that we had this, and obviously we had to. If I had to add to all of that, it was amazing. It was amazing. I love the fact that I still really need to thank everyone that joined us today. It was amazing to have you here. Like I'm grateful. Shout out to Sarkev. Shout out to our producer, our host, the founder, the man that runs things here on Sport July Network. I also shout out to Chris. This has been a lovely experience to do this, and I still have excerpts to still get into. Co-host, having technical difficulties. But if I'm to earn this on a good note, Brett was asked about the current state of pro wrestling, and he said, "I find in a lot of wrestlers, and I won't necessarily name anybody, but I find that the wrestlers are more actors pretending to be wrestlers today than actual wrestlers. AEW, I find that they are mostly are mostly actors trying to pretend to be wrestlers. Get on with the real wrestling and just quit acting so much." I think this is actually across the board. I obviously it was I know you named up AEW and all of that, but obviously because they're easy to hit on. But sincerely speaking, I just believe if you I, I know about WWE feels as if they have more people because it's more on promos, character work, and movement and all of that. And I really do understand what it means, how it means to have all of that. But as a fan, I would want. I'm not saying it would go straight full blown into acting and all of that, but I just expect the fact that we should, as the pro wrestling industry, have a little bit of everything, not force feeding us, not trying to shove it down our throat, but literally giving us the best you can give us at the time you are giving it to us. So I really do appreciate the search, the interview. It was amazing. I love listening to stories. I love listening to everything. We got all of that, and obviously, we saw him, giving a shout out to Roman, saying Roman is one of those guys. He said, yeah, I like that. Throwback a little bit more to the work rate. Roman Reigns is a guy that I think tries really hard to earn the respect of my generation. The tribal chief, at least somebody from our generation is able to impress Bret the Hitman Hart, and that alone is okay for me as a fan and someone that loves this sport and loves this industry. So I'm really grateful to be able to do this, and this is the second stream for us as part of this initiative to bring this to you live from Nigeria as the first international show to be held here on this channel, this network. Thank you to Sakev, our host and producer, the man that run things here. Shout out to Chris and the crew involved, those handling UFC, NFL, NHL, and all the sports franchise shows and review that happens here. Don't forget, come to our live show comes on again on Friday. Friday we'll be back here on to get in on pro wrestling and the top story, the morning top tea. We'll have the Lion Dead segment. We'll see. We are working on getting interviews here, with brands and business owners, with people that have stories to tell, just to take us a little bit out of wrestling and just get us to real life and what people have going on for them. We still have to bring a lot of creativity in on the show. I'm really grateful to have this. If you haven't subscribed, you know what to do. You hit the button, you subscribe, you hit the notification button so you can get along to our shows. You see what we are doing, and you get to do. If you haven't liked, please like. I need the likes. You like, you comment, you share, you post, and you spread the word. This is Good Morning Wrestling with your host Samuel Lyon, and I'm really grateful to P for joining us today, and for AFK joining us earlier today on the show. I want to take your morning. I want to start the morning with you, and if you have your espresso, your tea, your room temperature water, you can take a swig. May the sports be with you. I love you guys. Please stay safe. And this is Good Morning Wrestling. Peace.